Welcome to Module 1 of this program. I'm excited to have you join us. What you're going to learn through this entire program is going to create a dramatic shift in the way you function in the world, the way you view life, the way you pursue goals, the way you deal and work with almost every single individual in your life. Really, what I'm trying to do here is put together in an elegant framework that connects with each other almost all the most powerful ideas I've learned in 10 years being a teacher, a publisher, an organizer of some of the world's greatest personal growth brands and products. The work that you're going to hear here comes from my own experimentation, from my own tinkering, from combining ideas from people who came before me with new things I designed and developed out in the field. But let's get started. What we're going to talk about in this first module is a unifying model that unites all my work. Now, some of you have been following me for various years, so you understand various ideas and models that I put out, from the theory of flow to the 6-phase meditation. Others may be new. What we're going to do in this first module is take all of my previous work that has been released out through YouTube, through online webinars, and we're going to unify it, because this is going to be an important grounding before we go deeper in modules 2 to 8. So some of the stuff that you hear here, you may have already heard, but there's still going to be some new stuff that you may never have encountered before. I'm going to assign you a ton of homework for this first week. Expect about 3 to 3.5 hours of research and homework. I'm going to give you a wide number of different videos and lectures to watch. All of them are insanely exciting. So you're going to learn a ton. And odds are most of you have watched at least 1 or 2 of these, but it's very important to watch this over the next week or so that you're caught up. On average, each of you will be doing about 2 hours of additional work this week following this training. So let's get started with the unifying model. The first part of what I teach is called the cognitive revolution. And it states that human beings, what differentiated us from, say, earlier man, say Neanderthals, is that human beings had the faculty of language. This faculty of language allowed us to mobilize into tribes, into cultures. It allowed us to create religion, villages, cities, then go to war over these cities and villages and religion. All of this happened because of what we call the cognitive revolution. It's discussed in a book called Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. The cognitive revolution simply means that we exist in 2 worlds. You see, all of us are trained to function in the physical world, but there's also a mental world, a world of ideas, of constructs in our brain that we have taken on through years and years and years of generations passing these mental models to each other. These models exist solely as thoughts and ideas, yet in our world, they are absolutely real and they have an impact on us. Let me give you an idea. Think about the idea of a corporation. Corporations don't actually exist. You can file a corporation and get a piece of paper, but that piece of paper establishes a series of laws and ideas and mental constructs that allow a group of people to come together and build something. Corporations exist not in our physical animal world, but solely as a mental construct, as a series of rules and understandings on conduct between us and other people, between us and governments, between us and other stakeholders. Now, it's not just corporations that exist in our head, it's laws. Almost all man-made laws were simply laws decided through mental constructs. If you go back 3,000 years ago, the first laws were the laws of Hammurabi. And if you look at those laws, it reflected the social constructs of that era. For example, women or slaves were a fraction of the worth of a free man. And then, as we evolved as human beings, our laws and contracts changed. From the Declaration of Independence, all men are born free. So, laws and constructs too exist solely as mental cognitions. And when you understand this, in the words of Steve Jobs, you realize that everything that you call life was made up by people no smarter than you. And you can change it, you can influence it. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. Now, here's what I mean, right? Meditation is just a concept in the human mind. God is just a concept in the human mind. This doesn't mean they are not real. Meditation is real. But can you see meditation? Can you touch meditation? Yet meditation exists solely in our head. And we know it's real because 1,400 studies show, as of 2015, that it does everything from improve your longevity to make you more creative to even helping you have better sex. But meditation exists solely as a construct in the human mind. Let's talk about God. Is God real? Or is God real because he's a construct in our heads? Now, these are all interesting questions, but the ultimate thing is our world, from marriages to how we learn, to our understanding of phonetics and reading, to what is work, to constructs such as the 9 to 5, to careers, to love, meaning, guilt, shame, are nothing more than constructs in the human mind. We take them on, we make them real, because these constructs get passed to us from generation to generation to generation to generation. Yet, they are not real in a physical sense. They exist in our head, but because you control your head, all of this is highly influenceable, is highly hackable. There are techniques, for example, that I'm going to teach you in this course that will help you re-see how work should be designed, that will help you rethink the idea of a career, that will help you create greater love within yourself so that your mental models of how you need to seek love from outside forces change and become healthier and stronger, that will help you find meaning in your life, that will help you remove guilt and shame, because all of these are highly hackable. And the optimized human being, as we move towards greater levels of self-awareness and enlightenment, you learn to go into what, as you'll learn later, is the dual mind effect, where you almost feel your mind separate to a point where you can observe your conscious mind and you can see all the drama and pain and nonsense that you might be cycling through your head. We're going to get there as we go through this program. But what you need to understand is that it's easy to do this because everything we think we know about the world isn't true. It's simply mental models. Now, there's a much deeper discussion on this topic, which we've pasted in the Elula program for this, the Mind Valley Academy program, powered on Elula. So you want to watch this video, The Cognitive Revolution. You can watch it online at that URL, but you'll also see it in the next chapter of this particular module. Now, the second thing that we go into is the idea of rules. A rule is a bullshit rule that we create to simplify our understanding of the world. So as we know, we have these constructs in our head, right? These constructs often create rules for us. We know that being in a relationship is important, but through childhood conditioning, through maybe something you observe that you created meaning on, you may create a rule around relationships, a rule such as love is painful. Maybe you got hurt as a teenager, someone dumped you. That love is painful rule goes into your being. And what happens is, until you remove that, every relationship you go through creates some form of pain. So, how do we take on rules, right? The example I just gave is an example of you taking on a rule through you making a false observation of the world. But often we take on rules unconsciously. There's a scientific study by Paul Marston called Memetics and Social Contagion. And he says, the evidence shows that we inherit and transmit behaviors, emotions, beliefs, and religions not through rational choice, but through contagion. When we are unsure of how to react to a stimulus or a situation, these theories suggest we actively look for others for guidance and we consciously imitate them. So all of us buy into these bullshit rules about the world that were not decided into us by rational choice, but through imitation. Common rules: every woman needs a man. Aging is a part of life. Religion is needed for salvation. Males and females need different roles. Love is painful. And we also have common rules about work. The pursuit of money is wrong. Success equals hard work. 9 to 5 is necessary. Be realistic in your goals. We need college degrees. As you go through this program, you'll be examining a lot of rules about the world. Rules on things such as the ability to move rapidly towards goals, intuition, self-confidence, love, and we'll be deconstructing these rules. Now, here are simple methods that I've taught in previous classes on how to identify your rules. Ultimate thing to understand is that there's a difference between relative truth and absolute truth. Relative truth is true for some people. Absolute truth is true for everyone. When you think about something like meditation and the benefits it yields, that is absolute truth. Across every culture, every age group, every demographic, people who meditate show neurological benefits. Now, when you think about relative truth comes from often culture or religion or beliefs that we take on through our tribe or our company. Let's take the idea of working 9 to 5 for productivity. Well, maybe, but I know that in my company, everybody has flexi time. They choose their own work hours, and we found that to be highly productive. So when you start to see that as long as you believe something, and it's not absolute truth, it hasn't been proven for every person on the planet, it's relative truth. And if it's relative truth, you only need to accept it if it's empowering. So let's take a common idea, sin and guilt. I've educated a lot of people who would come to me after my classes and say, I have a hard time asking for that big goal because I was raised in a Catholic family and I was told that I'm a sinner and I need to feel guilty about certain things I did in my past. And this guilt makes me feel undeserving. That's an example of relative truth. It's only on one particular segment of the world population, a tiny segment of Christianity that teaches people that they are born sinners and that they need to feel guilty. Now, is that absolute truth? No. There's no scientific proof that we are born sinners, but it affects millions upon millions of people in a negative way. When you start to look at relative truth, especially relative truth that's put in you through religion, culture, and mythological beliefs, you gain a new sense of power to liberate yourself. So, how do you know if something is a rule? 5 questions you can ask yourself. Are they based on truth and hope in humanity? Does it serve your happiness? Does it violate the golden rule? Did you take it from culture or religion? And was it based on rational choice or imitation? Now, I know I'm going fast. Don't worry. I'm giving you an overview of rules. In this program, you will also go into a deeper training on rules. I'm going to tell you about that training in a bit, so you really get to understand this concept. The main thing is, with rules, outside of physics and the rule of law, all other rules are illusions that you've chosen to believe, and you have permission to smash the ones that no longer benefit you. So you can learn about breaking rules on this particular video, how to break free of your own rules. You can find it online, but you can also watch it in this particular course. So you have a word. Now from that word, rules, we develop a tool. Buckminster Fuller said, if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. So when I run my big programs like Awesomeness Fest, we don't just teach, we give people a framework. That framework allows them to accelerate their personal growth because it takes everything that they have studied on Mind Valley or in every book, and it allows them to slot them in to a mental framework where they can accelerate their growth. That framework is part 3. It's what I call consciousness engineering. We're going to dive into it a little bit, but we're going to go really deeper in a 35-minute video, which I'm going to make accessible to you as part of your homework for this week. So to understand the concept of consciousness engineering, you got to understand that everything about you comes from 2 things. Everything that makes you who you are, that makes an extraordinary human being, comes from 2 things. Your models of reality, which are your beliefs about your world, and your systems of living, which is your daily habits. So let's look at that in detail, right? If you think about a computer, like that particular 1980 Apple machine, 2 things make up this computer. There's the hardware, which would be the monitor, the mouse that you see there, the disk drive. Think of the hardware of the human being as your beliefs. Here's the distinction. Your beliefs are swappable, just like hardware. If you want to change the monitor of a computer, you go out, you buy a more powerful monitor. You want a better mouse, you buy a new mouse. The mouse you see in that picture has evolved over the last 30 years. That's what an Apple mouse now looks like. So much more sleek, so much more elegant, wireless. Likewise, our beliefs need to evolve, and our beliefs can be swappable. You can take a belief, such as a belief that comes from culture, which can be very harmful to you, such as the idea I mentioned earlier of sin, and you can wake up and you can evolve that belief. And when you do, that manifests itself in the real world. Now there are also systems. Systems are like the software in a computer. You can download different apps onto your iPhone. It's easy. Likewise, you can learn new systems. For example, systems might be a new way of working out in the gym, a new way of eating, a new way of speed reading. I constantly try to upgrade at least one of my systems every single week. For example, this week, The new system I adopted into my life was minimum effective dose kettlebell exercises to build up my arm strength and my chest. New systems can be downloaded like crazy. And in this program, you're going to learn a ton of powerful new systems that I adopt in my life for everything from self-healing to love to exercise to making yourself feel younger. So let's summarize. Models of reality, it's the hardware of your soul. Systems of living, this is the software of your soul. And the operating system that governs both of this is called consciousness engineering. I call it the operating system for the soul. Now from there, we're going to go into part 4, which is models of reality. So let's dive into models of reality and beliefs. We all know our beliefs make us who we are. Let's see how powerful this really is. Maxwell Maltz in Psycho-Cybernetics, which is one of my favorite books of all time, said, it's no exaggeration to say that human beings are hypnotized to some extent, either by ideas he has uncritically accepted from others, or ideas he has repeated to himself or convinced himself to be true. We create our models of reality in several interesting ways. These are the ideas that we have been hypnotized into believing, or self-hypnotized into believing is completely true. The first method is childhood indoctrination. What happens is, from the time you are a kid, we take on beliefs from our parents, from our culture. That's why it's so important to make sure that whatever kid you're in the presence with, you're giving them empowering beliefs. And it's really interesting to see how badly we sometimes program kids and how badly we've been programmed as kids. For example, when I was a child, I had a pimple appear on my cheek. And an adult, a well-meaning adult said, oh, you've turned 13. You're becoming a teenager. Get used to it. You're going to have lots and lots and lots of pimples. And guess what? I ended up getting skin disease because I was so frightened by this belief that he put in my head. I ended up getting skin disease that lasted 5 years. It completely wrecked my self-confidence, my self-esteem, and I somehow believed this well-meaning adult that I was going to get lots and lots and lots of pimples. As a child, as a 13-year-old boy just figuring out himself in the world, I was so susceptible to any belief implanted in me by someone I perceived as an authority figure. Think about what beliefs you may have taken on as a child. Perhaps your parents made you feel you were not good enough. Perhaps you feel you were not deserving of love. A lot of these beliefs we carry forth into our adulthood, even until some of us are 40 or 50 years old, until you learn to get rid of them. You see, in the book Sapiens by Yuval Harari, Yuval says that one of the unique things about human beings is that human beings are highly malleable. You see, a cat, as soon as a kitten is born, as soon as it's born, in the first week, it can start walking around. It can start finding its mom. It's self-sufficient almost. An antelope, as soon as it's born, it can stand up. But a human baby is completely helpless. The reason for that is because as human mothers started evolving, they started standing upright. It became harder to give birth. And at the same time that was happening, humans were evolving bigger and bigger and bigger brains, which made it harder for babies to pass through the birth canal. So Yuval Harari said that we started giving birth prematurely. Every human baby is born premature. And thus, human beings are not like shaped earthenware, where any attempt to change it will simply leave a scratch. Human beings are like molten glass that can be molded into anything you want. This is why we can raise our kids, in Yuval Harari's words, to be capitalists or socialists, peacemakers or warmongers, Christians or Buddhists. We were all born as malleable glass. And as we grew up, we took on so much input from our parents, from our upbringing, from our education, from our cultures, that it shaped who we are. But we can also gain the ability to mold this, to remove these negative ideas, and to take on empowering ones. Now, the second way we develop these models of reality comes from the need for belonging. We are tribal people. We are a tribal species. We need to be part of a tribe. But sometimes to be part of a tribe, we'd have to take on the beliefs of that tribe, as irrational as the beliefs may be. So, I'm going to say something now that may piss off a number of you. Many of us take on irrational beliefs because of politics. Let's take global warming. Now, global warming has been denied by many people in America on the right. And, sometimes I vote left, sometimes I vote right. But many people in America who belong to the right decide that because some of their leadership, who are not very science educated, deny global warming, they feel they have to deny global warming too. It's because they need to fit in. Well, don't. You can take on the beliefs of your tribe, but you don't have to take on all their beliefs, especially if their beliefs are unscientific and untrue. So you can be you can vote right, but you don't have to believe everything that the right says is true. There's a lot of aspects about the right that you can love, maybe libertarian politics, maybe lower taxes. But we also, as human beings, take on these dumb beliefs, such as denying of global warming, which are harmful to planet Earth. So we need to be able to wake up and separate our beliefs from our sense of belonging. The third, authority figures. Many of us belong to a church or a mosque or a temple, and we see these priests as authority figures. Problem is, many of them are not very well educated. A priest is nowhere close to the level of consciousness that Jesus Christ was, but because we take them as authority figures, we sometimes believe the nonsense they implant in our heads. And this is true whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu. Authority figures can also be our boss, and authority figures can be our parents or our teachers. We somehow give false authority to people because human beings have sometimes a tendency to look up to authority, because in the early years of our evolution, we needed to look up to authority because we needed leaders to help us organize. But it's time you start questioning some of those things those leaders say, because many of them may be completely unnecessary or damaging to your being. Then there's social proof. An example of how we take on belief through social proof is advertising. When we're exposed to advertising and told everyone does this, everyone eats like this is healthy, or this is unhealthy, or this is what you need to make people notice you, we're taking on beliefs through social proof. And finally, internal insecurities. Our internal insecurities create our external reality. Back to the example of being dumped by someone. So you go on a date. You're really attracted to this man or woman. And what happens is that following the date, you're waiting for them to call you back. And they don't. What happens in our head? We create a belief. Oh God, maybe he or she is seeing someone else. Maybe they don't find me attractive. Maybe I was boring during the date. But oftentimes it's not that. Maybe they lost their phone. Maybe they went through a really major busy week. We create meaning around things. And when we create meaning, we create models of reality. These models of reality stay with us. They make us feel unattractive, unwanted. They make us feel rejected. But it's just a model. It's just a self-imposed model. Our beliefs are so powerful in shaping our world that they literally change our physical body. Here's a study scientists did, right? They found that you could hypnotize someone to believe they were getting a tan, and they would actually get a tan under hypnosis. Even though they were lying in shade in a darkened room with a hypnotherapist, the tan would appear within hours. There was a famous study on hotel maids where a scientist got a group of hotel maids together on a fake study. The study they told the maids was to optimize their work in a hotel. So they asked the maids questions such as, how many steps are you going up and down? How many bed sheets do you change? And got the data. But here's what they did. At the end of the study, they would tell the maids a phrase, something like this. Matilda, based on what you're telling me, it seems as if you're probably burning an extra 1,000 calories a day from a regular worker. You must be really fit. That was it. 30 days later, they went back to study the maids, and they found that every maid had lost weight and their cholesterol count was down. Why? Because someone made them believe that what they were doing was exceptionally healthy, way above the norm. And just that belief alone, even though these maids changed nothing about their work, caused them to lose weight, caused them to have their cholesterol count drop. So think about this. I know people who believe that eating chocolate is absolutely unhealthy. And I know many people who believe that chocolate is healthy. Both of them will show either the unhealthy benefits of chocolate or the healthy benefits of chocolate, depending on what they believe. Now remember, this isn't true for everything. There are things you shouldn't eat. I'm watching you, McDonald's. So What it does say, though, is that our beliefs around something, especially chocolate, which, some has some good elements to it, has some bad elements to it, but I would say, is a neutral food. What we believe about it creates the impact that it does on our body. So, common models of reality or aging hard way include calories. There are many health professionals out there who say that calories just do not matter. Retirement. Do we really need to retire in our 60s? Human lifespans are increasing. And what if we're taking jobs that give us meaning and we are passionate about? Religion. Do we need religion? Or can we have spirituality without dogma? Aging. Can we slow down aging? University education. More and more companies, for example, Google or Mindvalley, 15% of staff at Google, 15% of staff at Mindvalley have never gone to university, and they are incredible performers. Do we need to go into massive debt if we are in the United States for a university education? All of these are models of reality that you need to question. And I've shown you 5 ways in which we take them on. As we go through these courses, we'll be challenging many of these models of reality. Now, what are enhanced models? There are some enhanced models we'll be discussing. Human intuition. Is it real? What happens if you believe that you can tap into knowledge or ideas of inspiration outside your physical brain? Mind-body healing. Can we accelerate healing in our body? Self-directed learning. How can we accelerate our rate of personal growth by identifying our own learning path? Work as a passion. Spiritual but not religious. This is something which we'll be talking about in this training. And now we go on to part 5, systems for living. So we've gone pretty deep into models. Let's talk about systems. You're going to be learning a ton of systems throughout this course. Systems are basically things we do on a daily basis to help ourselves be better. And systems are like the software of a computer. Here are some examples of systems that we take for granted, but are systems nonetheless. Email is a means of communication. Phonetic reading, counting calories, endurance training, 9-to-5 work routines, dieting and exercise routines. All of these are systems. But there are also enhanced systems coming up every year from thinkers, from thought leaders that do not make it into mainstream, but are powerful nonetheless. Gratitude practices, mindfulness practices, speed learning, self-managed workspaces. All of these are beautiful systems that I'm experimenting with right now and are having a profound impact in my life, and I'll be sharing some of these in this training. The problem with us is that as physical human beings, we evolve our systems really fast. That's why if you look at exercise, there are new exercise routines coming out all the time. You cannot turn on late night television in America and not be exposed to advertisements for really good exercise programs like P90X. But our spiritual evolution is stuck in the past. It's mired in religion. It's mired in not just religion, but people who have become so anti-religion that they deny all forms of spirituality. And so our spiritual evolution is what needs a major leveling up. And what we'll talk about in this program are morning rituals that you can do to grow your spiritual evolution, from forgiveness to gratitude to creative visualization to deep meditation to connecting with what may be a higher power. All of these are systems that make you better. We'll also talk about systems for love, systems for forgiveness, systems for work, systems for leadership, systems which I've applied in my life, which I've found to be incredibly useful. So, we've gone deep. We've really talked about consciousness engineering, about models and systems. If you want to go deeper into that segment of this training, watch this video. This is a speech I gave at Awesomeness Fest, which is my invite-only event where I bring in a lot of really influential entrepreneurs and leaders around the world to discuss and share with them the greatest ideas in personal growth. So this video is available in this course as well. Now we go on to part 6, the ultimate state of human existence. So we've established the following so far. We've established that a lot of the stuff that's in our head is simply in our head, and we can hack it. And a lot of the stuff in our head are rules. They are bullshit rules that we took on through conditioning, but they are not necessarily true. We also established consciousness engineering, that there is a means, a mechanism to change the stuff going on in our head, to evolve ourselves rapidly. And consciousness engineering has 2 components, models of reality and systems of living. Models are swappable. You can swap out bad models, swap in good ones. Systems are learnable. You can always learn new systems of living. Now I'm going to put the last 2 together, a model of reality and a system. When you really understand consciousness engineering, you start to live life in a beautiful state of being. I call it the ultimate state of human existence. I found when I'm living life from this state, magic seems to happen. It's as if the universe has my back. It's as if every intention or goal I have seems to come to me easily. But more so, I enjoy life. I enjoy what I'm doing. I've always said that I don't feel like I ever work because everything I'm doing I so absolutely enjoy. So work to me doesn't really exist. Everything I do is play, leading me towards a greater mission. Now, all of us can be trained to function in this state. Here's how I stumbled upon this state. And I've called it by various names. I've called it the state of flow, state of momentum, fury of awesomeness. It's hard to give this state a name, but let me explain what it is. It started with an early observation. When I was starting out my business, I noticed that Mind Valley was a game. I started a simple little e-commerce website to promote meditation. And I made enough to buy a cup of coffee every day, a cup of Starbucks coffee. I lived in New York. There was a Starbucks across the street, and I loved my coffee. And so I remember bragging to my friends that, I made $3 that day, $3 in this little side project. And that $3 was a cup of coffee. I checked my PayPal account, see $3 coming in every day in profit after ad cost and everything, and spend it on coffee to reward myself. A month later, I could afford not just coffee, but a Subway sandwich. I was making about $7, and it was so much fun. Now that simple ritual kept pushing me. By 12 months later, I had made $40,000 from that first business. And that's when I quit my job and decided to dedicate myself full on to Mind Valley. But as soon as I did, and I started hiring people, filing taxes, finding an office space, that's my early team, chaos happened. The growth stopped. The fun stopped. I got out of this state, this ultimate state of human existence. It stopped becoming a game as it was before. It stopped being something that I felt so happy, even if I made $3. It became a business with targets, with goals, and all of this really dragged me down. It led to 4 years of struggle until I had an epiphany, and I realized that I had stopped enjoying myself. And that epiphany made me realize that we all live in unique states of human existence. And when I pushed myself to the ultimate state, this happened. We became a company that could afford to take our entire team to beaches around the world for fun. We could have a beautiful office. We could build a Mind Valley that is today, which is growing, completely bootstrapped, and thriving as a company. And every single day, I have so much fun doing what I do. But it started because I made a leap from one state to another state. So this is how I'm going to explain the states. Firstly, there's a balance that you need to strike in your life between two things. And I explain in my longer videos on flow, which you'll get access to. And that is, you have to be happy in the now. Meaning, happy with what you have right now. No matter how miserable your life may be based on outside observances, maybe you're broke, maybe you have $20 in your bank account. You got to figure out a way to raise your happiness level. But while raising your happiness level, you have to have a vision for the future. When you can put both of these together, to be happy with whatever you got, but still have a small vision, a glimpse of what you want pulling you forward, you start going into the flow state. Now, based on these two things, happiness in the now and vision for the future, there are 4 states you can exist in. The first is negative spiral. So watch my hands, okay? Negative spiral means you're not happy right now. You have no vision for the future. When you're in a negative spiral, life keeps getting worse. You need to seek outside help. I would guess that at any given point, 4 to 5% of the human population is in a negative spiral. Next, there's the current reality trap. This is where you're happy right now, but you have no vision for the future. There's a problem here. You see, you can be happy, but if you don't have a vision pulling you forward, you're not growing. You're not contributing to humanity. And Tony Robbins, in a very famous TED Talk, said that we have 2 great spiritual needs, the need to grow and the need to contribute. And if you don't pursue these needs to grow and contribute, you're happy, but it's a fake kind of happiness. It's the happiness you can take from getting drugs. You're never really fulfilled. But there's another state, right? Which we'll come to in a moment. Know this, if you're just happy, if you aren't growing, you're doing a disservice to your mission and to the world. Dream big, play big, push your boundaries. In the words of Marianne Williamson, by letting your light shine, you grant permission for others to do the same. Now, the next state is stress and anxiety. This is where you have visions pulling you forward, but you're unhappy right now. You have the dream of a new office, the dream of a new company, the dream of getting X amount in your bank account, but it's not there yet, so you are stressed out. You're feeling anxiety. You've postponed your happiness until you attain a particular goal. That too is wrong. Now, the ideal state is the state of flow. You have your goals pulling you forward, but you're happy now. This was the state I was in year 1 of my business. And in year 5, when I rebounded. The flow state, I define it as this, is a mental state of mind in which you are pulled forward by big goals, yet happy where you are now. It creates a feeling of growth and a feeling of being lucky. So if you plot this all out on this board, you can see happiness, vision. You want to be in that state called flow, which is right there in the top right corner. There is a very important element of flow called the paradox of intention. It comes from a book called Quantum Success. It says you must have goals, but your happiness cannot be tied to these goals. You must be happy before you attain them. Now, if you think this might be hard to be happy before your goal, don't worry. We're going to teach you in this program various techniques to hack happiness. So you are happy right now. But we're also going to teach you various techniques to hack goal setting. So you have incredible goals pulling you forward. Then we go on to part 7, discipline. So we've spoken about happiness, right? These are some of the concepts that I have taught in terms of happiness. I call the model discipline. Discipline simply states that the ultimate discipline in life is the discipline to make sure that you're completely at bliss. So discipline leads to happiness in the now. And happiness in the now comes from embodiment practices. Happiness is a trainable skill. Embodiment practices are things that you do to take various forms of consciousness and embody them within you. Here are examples: meditation, creative visualization, intention setting, inspirational reading, gratitude. All of these are embodiment practices. We are going to go deeper into them in this training. And I'm also going to send you a video that you can watch that will go deeper and give you a big overview on how to exist in the flow state. Now, from the flow state, we know that we need to be happy in the now. And we also need to have goals pulling us forward. How do we get to beautiful goals that pull us forward? Well, most goal setting is wrong. What we're going to teach you here is something called the 3 most important questions. If you're part of Mind Valley, you've probably done this exercise. But the 3 most important questions is an advanced form of goal setting that helps you really identify goals that make you happy. So we're going to redefine what you think you know about goal setting. What truly matters? We are trained to pursue a career. So we are told we got to get a good GPA so we can get into a good college. We got to pay all those ridiculous college fees so we can get a good degree, so we can join a company, work 9 to 5, save, slave to earn a wage so that someday we can retire. And then we can do all that stuff that we really want to do in life. That's the extreme example of a rule. In reality, what truly matters to us is none of that. What truly matters are end goals. End goals are 3 things. They are experiences that you want. Getting a law degree is not an end goal. 50% of lawyers in America are clinically depressed. However, what is the end goal of that is self-sufficiency. It is the ability to run your own business, to provide some good in the world. But when you go straight for the end goal, if the end goal is, I want to run my own business because I love that freedom, I want to do good in the world, then you don't have to go down that path to become a lawyer. There are many other ways to do that. Now, when you look at end goals versus means goals, you are hacking your goal-setting operation system. You're going straight towards the end, to what truly makes you happy. And 3 things make you happy: experiences, growth, and contribution. I already shared that quote by Tony Robbins. We spoke about how all souls need to grow, all souls need to contribute. But there's a 3rd element which we mentioned earlier, which is experiences. So you have experiences, growth, contribution. Experiences are things such as making love to that person you want to be with every night, raising kids, having a beautiful, amazing, fit body, owning a car that you get to drive and truly enjoy driving, having freedom, being able to travel and see the world. Growth are things such as learning to have transcendent experiences, meditation every day because I want to feel that sense of bliss, learning to put my body in the best shape, learning new languages. Contribution would be volunteer work, writing a book, building a company, anything that's helping push humanity forward. So we're going to give you an exercise that will help you do all 3 so that you develop this in you. The exercise is called the 3 most important questions, and the video for it is going to be in this package as well. Now, when you do the 3 most important questions, you end up with what is essentially a blueprint for your soul. It looks something like this. I do this in my classes and my seminars with my team. So you can see they've drawn 3 columns, experiences, growth, contribution. This is for one of the members of my team. And you can see that all of these are things that directly lead to happiness. Now, when you do it this way, you are setting your brain on a path to hack its way towards these goals, like visit Spain, read 12 different books a year, change work culture. Now, what we do in our company with the 3 most important questions is we put it up on a giant vision board so every individual in Mind Valley can see everyone else's 3 most important questions. And people get to collaborate on these goals. Recently, for example, 4 of our employees took a trip to Nepal together because they noticed they all had Nepal on their 3 most important questions. So, I'm going to have you go deeper in this. I know I just touched the surface, but this is the video I want you to watch. This is from one of our Awesomeness Fests. It's called The Theory of Awesomeness, and it talks about being in the flow state, doing the 3 most important questions, and it gives you an understanding of discipline. So go ahead and watch the video. It's an hour long, but this is part of your homework for this week. Now we go on to part 9, and we're almost done. Part 9 is the envisioning method. So, we've talked about consciousness engineering. We've talked about being in that ideal state called flow. We've talked about hacking happiness, hacking goals. What you need right now is a daily practice that could take maybe no more than 20 minutes that puts you in a perpetual state of growth and evolution. This is really a form of meditation. I call it the envisioning method, and it's unlike any meditation you may have ever heard before. It's a meditation I invented that is making raves around the world, including in communities where people resist meditation because they say they just don't have time. It's a wholly different form of meditation than 99% of the meditations out there. Now, the envisioning method is a longer training, so I'm going to give you a video that explains it. It was a video of me teaching this at Google HQ in Dublin to a group of scientists and European politicians and Google staff members, and the video will explain the envisioning method. And I'm also going to give you a 20-minute audio track that you can start listening to get into it. So, giving you a lot of homework, but the one homework I'd love to see you start tomorrow in the next 1 week is to meditate every morning to the envisioning method. That would be a requirement of this program. If you already have a meditation practice, don't worry. Stick to your meditation practice. But if you can, try adopting some of the ideas in the envisioning method every few days or so, because it will help you get the best out of this course. So let me quickly tell you what the envisioning method is. It's a 6-phase meditation. Meditation is my biggest tool, and I wanted to create my own method which I could teach others that would help solve 6 of the biggest elements of the human psyche that break down as we go through life. And the 6 elements really allow you to hack your human experience. These are the 6 things that we need for optimal functioning. Love and compassion, gratitude because it leads to happiness, a sense of peace, that there's peace in our life. Vision, we need a vision for the future. A sense of control, we need to know that we can control our lives and our vision. And feeling of being supported by someone or a higher power. Now, these 6 needs, if you think of human beings as a computer game where you level up your character, we need to be at top levels for all of this. But as we go through life, we're often not at top levels. We're sometimes out of balance. As you can see in this particular chart, this person's gratitude levels may be a little bit low because maybe they're feeling, they're not feeling as happy about their lives, or their sense of control may be low. Maybe they have an overpowering boss, for example, or a spouse. So you want to be able to level up in all of these levels for optimal human functioning. This is where the 6-phase meditation comes in. So in the 6 phases, you learn exercises to increase compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, to future dreaming, perfect day, and blessing. And these 6 exercises level you up in these 6 levels. Compassion is the first one. When you do this meditation, you're going to learn a technique to create compassion within you so that you feel love, not just for yourself, but the entire world. And when you feel love, you have healthier relationships with everyone around you because that sense of neediness goes away. Next, you're going to learn gratitude practices that elevate your happiness. As I mentioned earlier, happiness is a requirement for flow, for being in that beautiful, optimal state of human existence. So you will learn how to hack your happiness. Science shows that gratitude, causes more energy, more emotional intelligence, more forgiving attitudes, less depression, less anxiousness, more feelings of being socially connected, better sleep, fewer headaches. It's amazing what gratitude can do, and you're going to learn a really unique, original gratitude system. Then there's forgiveness. Forgiveness helps you feel safe. It gives you that feeling of safety that you need because you stop having grudges with the people around you. In the words of one of my friends, you become unfuckwithable. Unfuckwithable means people cannot fuck with you because you are so at peace with yourself and you do not hold grudges. Gratitude gives you that, and forgiveness gives you that, and you're going to learn a technique to massively enhance your forgiveness. I just got back from a 7-day retreat where my brain was hooked up to various biofeedback machines, and I was studying how to raise alpha waves in my brain. The scientists there said that they had accidentally discovered that forgiveness was the surest path to raise alpha waves. And alpha promotes creativity, promotes feelings of peace, promotes intuition. Forgiveness was it. So when I was in this retreat, I spent 2 hours every single day just forgiving people in my past, and it was mind-blowing what forgiveness can do. Then we're going to go on to future dreaming. Now, future dreaming is where you dream about that life that you want to build in the future based on your 3 most important questions. Then the perfect day. This is where you have your sense of where you want to be 3 years down the road. You now visualize your perfect day unfolding to get you there. And then the blessing. The blessing is a spiritual practice where you gain acceptance and get blessed from whatever higher power you believe in. Okay, now, I just touched the surface. Go through the entire video. It's 35 minutes and it ends with the exercise. This is the video filmed at Google. And if you want the exercise on your phone, you can get it on Omvana app. Just download Omvana app on Android or on your iPhone. That's the 6-phase meditation. It comes free with Omvana app. You can use the mixer on Omvana to blend it with different binaural sounds if you like meditating to binaural beats, and go for it. And if you do not have a smartphone, we've also uploaded the video to YouTube so you can watch it there. And that's really the end of this particular section of the training. I've taken all of these theories, all of my prior work, and unified it. It's important that you see the unification of all of this because this will help you go through the deeper segments of this training. And what will we cover in the deeper segments? I can't wait to share this with you. You're going to talk about inner strength. We're going to teach you how to get rid of all grudges within you, all charges, so you become at peace. You're also going to learn how to develop such a powerful sense of self-love that your relationships get better because all feelings of neediness disappear. And when you develop a powerful sense of self-love, you start to be able to give love to other people in a better way as well. We're going to activate your intuition in some really interesting ways, and we're going to tie an intuition to your goals so that now as you're pursuing your goals, you get downloads to teach you the right way to get there. We're going to talk about bending reality. If you could take on any model of the world, I think one of the ultimate models is the idea that you, through your mind, have literally the ability to create coincidences and synchronicities and bend reality to move you towards your goals and visions. We're going to talk about this model of reality, and I'm going to teach you how I do it and some interesting new techniques I've learned that are causing eerie, amazing results in my life. You're going to learn how to rally people around your vision. As you gain these abilities, you start being perceived as a leader. And hopefully you're a great leader leading people towards something good through a company or a team or a non-profit organization or a school. We're going to teach you how to rally people around your vision, how to get that magnetism where people want to follow you and help create this vision that you have for the world. You're going to learn advanced meditation techniques way beyond the 6-phase meditation. You're going to learn how to get to the next stage in your spiritual evolution. And you're going to learn advanced systems for living, new ways to exercise, to eat, to slow down aging so you are consistently at your peak performance. You learn how to take on empowering models of reality so that you become better and better and better at what you do. And I apologize for the sun shining on my face. As I'm doing this early in the morning, the sun is rising and it's causing changes in the light coming through my room. Thank you for that, guys. You've just received Module 1. You've gone through an overview of everything that we're going to be learning in this course. There's a lot of homework. And as I said, almost 3 hours of homework that you have to do. Plus, you have to start meditating every single day. But I can guarantee you that the homework is fun, the videos are powerful, and you're going to learn a ton. The videos are powerful. One of the speeches that I just shared with you on the theory of awesomeness, I shared on stage with the Dalai Lama, with Richard Branson, with F.W.D. Clerk, and other Nobel Prize winners. And I won Best Speaker because the ideas there so resonated with the audience. It changed lives. So take some time out to watch these videos and really let this sink in. Sometimes as you're watching the videos, you'll go, oh, I already heard this stuff on the presentation. But the thing is, these ideas are so important. Repetition helps it sink in, so you really, really, really will get the best effects. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next class.